In one of the recipe books that I saw online, I saw this similar phrase, let us turn up the beat. And so I looked up some graphic ideas on how I would want to make my own divider with that same phrase. And I stumbled across this embroidery design on a website called ginkgodesigns.biz. So they embroider these onto shirts and things like that. And I really liked the angle and then how they had the lettuce and turnips and beets in it. So I knew I wanted to make my vegetable and fruit section to look similar to this. So I took that idea and I went back and forth, and let me switch over. And this is what I eventually came up with. So what I did is I used several different free fonts that I found online to type that out, and of course I changed the design a little bit. I found some of these graphic images online. I'm not sure of their copyright status. I could never figure that out on these, so that's why I'm not going to share those publicly, because I'm not quite sure. These I bought from Cricut. This was just one design all put together, and I bought it for 99 cents. The rest, these are just some free fonts that I used, and then I made the background the size that I needed in a print and cut so that I could put it inside of my notebook. So I'll show you from the very beginning how I made this one here. So we'll go to File, New. So the first thing I did was insert an image, insert a shape, and I did a square. I hit the unlock button down here, and then click on Edit here on the right. Now this, I know my print and cut width needs to be under 5.5, so I'm going to do 5 by 8 just to keep things safe. And then I'm going to change this background, so I'm going to click on Layers, click on that black square, and change that to white. So now I can see the white square that I'm going to work on. The next thing I want to do is add all my text. So the first thing I did is I went and found some fonts that matched as closely as I wanted. The first one I found for the word lettuce is this one on dafont.com called Stylish Calligraphy. So I just went over here to download and added it to my computer. Now since I already have that one on my computer, I'll show you a different one. This one that's called Bold and Stylish Calligraphy. So let's click download, and you'll see it'll be a zipped file. So I click Save As and save it into a place where I keep all of my other fonts. So here you'll see it automatically defaults to where I usually save my fonts. I save them in the cloud in my Dropbox, and then I create folders, and then I click Save. So then after I have it saved into a place that I want to keep, I'll click Open Folder, and you'll see it's right here. But it's in a zip file, so I can't use it just like that. So I will right click on my mouse and extract all. And so again, it'll create another folder in that same directory where I can extract it. Now that it's extracted, this is the main file that you want to use, the .ttf. The one that ends with that. So I went down to my taskbar and I just typed in the word font, and you'll see it found the folder in the control panel. So I click on that and it opens up my font folder. I have a lot of fonts in here now, so this takes a little bit to load. After your fonts folder loads, go ahead and go back and just hold on to that file from the bold stylish calligraphy.ttf and drag it over and copy it into your control panel fonts folder. and now it's in there. So now I can go back to my canvas, but that font is not going to immediately show up because I just added it. What I'm going to do is first I'm going to save what I have right here. Okay, so now I saved my file so that I don't lose what I've already done. Since I just added a brand new font, in order for it to show up in my list, I need to make sure and refresh my browser. Now that I refreshed my browser, I'll add text. I'm going to type in the word lettuce, then click Edit. You'll notice it defaults to the Cricut alphabet and it says All Fonts. Since I want to use free fonts that are already on my computer, I'm going to scroll down to System Fonts. Now I'll scroll down and find the font that I want to use. You'll see the one that we just added is right here, Bold Stylish Calligraphy. Now I like the lettering, but I don't want that color, so I'm going to go back to Layers, click on that, and then change the color to this sage green. The other thing I'm going to do is I want my lettering to be spaced differently. So I'm going to go back to the Edit feature, and for one, this letter spacing, I move it to 0 and just see what it does. When I do that, it moves them pretty close, but still not in the format that I want it to be completely. So I'm going to right-click and do Ungroup, and now each individual letter is its own. Eventually, I want to weld this entire word all together. So what I do first is I'm going to move this shape out of the way, and I'm going to use this line as my guide, just so I can make sure things are semi-straight where I want them to be straight. This is where you can move your mouse over to the right or to the left, hold the Control button down, and scroll up on your mouse, and you can get your workspace to be larger if you're working on detailed spacing like I am here. So then I also want the letter T to be there. Now this letter T, I don't want them to be squished this way. It could look nice in some applications, but this particular one, I'm going to connect them just right there. So now I'm going to move all of these up because my next even spot is going to be down here. So again, I'm trying to overlap my letters just slightly so that I can weld them all together. Okay, so I like that. So now I'm going to just draw a box around all of them, right-click, and say Group. So now that's all grouped together. I can move my background back here, and I know I want this to be a little bit bigger. I also want it at an angle, so I'm just going to start tilting it just like so. Okay, so now we'll work on our next word. Again, I'm going to add more text. My next word is turnip. The font that I used for that, I'll click on. It automatically went back to the last font I used. So now I'm going to go here and select Street Corner Thin. This is another font that I found on dafont.com. Just search for Street Corner and you'll find it in that list. Okay, so there's that one. Now on that one too, I know I want the color to be different. I want it to be more of a reddish, wineish color. And then I'm going to angle it to kind of match this one as well. So what I do is I'll kind of line it up there and see if I can get the lines to semi-match on the same angle. And then I just put it right under it. Okay, my next word is the word the. So this one I used Canaria Script. That is another font within dafont.com. So this time I need to scroll up. So this one I decided to go with a darker green. I also want those to be a little closer together. So we're going to try the 0 spacing. Makes it close, but not close enough. So again, I'm going to click Ungroup and then move my letters around a little bit. Okay, so then my last word is going to be the word beat. So again, I'll add text, all caps, B-E-E-T, and the font that I used for this one is Cooper Black. So I can go here and just type in Cooper Black. It finds it. Beets are more of a deep purple color, so I'm going to go change that to a purple and again rotate it. And this is a really thick word, so I'm going to have it accented quite a bit. And then I'm going to go back over here and I'm going to zoom out a little bit. So I'm going to hold down the control button and then scroll down on my mouse. Okay. So now that I have all my words grouped together and kind of the layout there, I'm going to highlight everything all together and click Align Center Horizontally. And that just kind of places everything nicely within that rectangle so that everything fits great. Okay, so now I added a scroll up here and a scroll down there. Well, there's other fonts that you can use that actually do have shapes. So let me do one thing. I don't like how big that letter is. Let's make that a little bit smaller. Okay, so I'm going to add a little scroll here and a large scroll here. So what I have is, again, I'm going to click on Add Text, Edit. I know I used the number 7 for one of them. The actual font was called Vintage Decorative Signs 2. So when I do this and I click on Vintage Decorative Signs 2, when I type the number 7, this is the little scroll I get. And then you can just rotate it to an angle that you like. So it's nice because you can also get shapes within fonts, free fonts that you can find. So you can add other decorative elements to your page. Now this one, I had made the color a little bit lighter than the word lettuce. We'll just do that for now. Now for the other scroll down here, again, oops, wrong one. I'm going to say Add Text. And this one I'm going to type in the number 8. Since I just used that font, it's automatically going to pick the same font for me. but you'll notice the number 8 is a different shape than the number 7. So all I do is make it larger, and then I angled it to fit exactly under this word here. I undid the little box so that I could squish it just a little bit more narrow. And then I made it fit from one end all the way to the other end of that word. And then I go and change the color to be that lighter shade as well. So I hope that kind of gave you an idea of how to use various free fonts to make your own graphics to match maybe other graphic tees or graphics that you've seen online. Then you can add other images that you find online by uploading images into Cricut. So for myself, I uploaded a piece of lettuce, 2 turnips, and 1 beet right here. Now let me show you that one image. If you liked the arrow image that I have, you can purchase that yourself here on Cricut. So I'm going to click on Insert Images. It's this one right here. If you need the item number, the number is, you can type this into your search bar, M33278. So that's the graphic image that I used. So I'm just going to click on it. So here's that image. I can just click on the image itself and click Insert Images. Since I already purchased it, I can just insert it now. And then all I did again was rotate it and make it fit how I wanted. So while it's still highlighted, I went ahead and did copy, paste, moved it over so I can see it better, and then I hit edit and this mirror flip vertical, and there we go. I kind of lined up these lines all together just so that visually they kind of go better. So once I had those arrows in, then that's when I really started playing more with my letters and moving things up a little bit more. So that I could make sure to fit my fruits and vegetables where I wanted them on the inside here. So that's how I did it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to delete these copyright images, which are just these 2 little arrows. I'm going to click Save, and I will link this file. This will be a free file available to you for download on my Facebook page. So you'll be able to open it in your Cricut Design Space, and all you'll have to do is print it. Now, one other thing to show you, if you want to make a print and cut image, remember to highlight everything all together. Click on Layers and click on Flatten. This is so that everything will print and not end up as a cut file. All it will do is, if you decide to run it through your cutter, it will cut just this outside box. For me, I did not cut it that way. I only used the print function, and I only printed it on my printer, and then I cut it out to be 8.5 by 5.5. That fit perfectly inside of my art planner. In essence, it's what's called a half-page size. So that fits into my recipe book at that size. But with this option, you'll be able to go in and edit this however you need to. Just remember, your print and cut size really can't exceed much further than what I have at this moment. You can go smaller, but with print and cut on Cricut, you can't go much bigger at this time. They are updating that, but I'm not sure when that's coming through. I haven't checked on that lately. But anyway, this file will be available to you if you're wanting to edit colors or anything like that. Just go back over here to the Layers section and click Unflatten. When you do that, everything becomes editable again. You can ungroup things, you can change the colors, and do whatever you want. Then when you're ready to print again, just highlight everything, group it all together, and flatten. Okay, so I just wanted to show you that little divider that I had made, how it looks inside of my little meal planner and recipe book. So again, this is a half-page size. This is an ARC planner that I got at Staples several years ago. It's the, I think it's called personal size, but the pages inside are exactly half a page. So when you have an 8.5 by 11, just imagine turning it landscape and cutting it right in half. And that's what half-page size is. So far I have my meat section, my breakfast section, all of this is in another video. And this is my custom-made divider that I just did in this video, and I added some other graphics to it. And then I just added my little tab, and so now I have my lettuce turn up the beet divider in here. So the last divider I need to make is soups. I haven't found a phrase that I really am crazy about yet, so I'm still working on that. But I love all of these others, and we've been doing our meal planning in here for about 3 weeks now, and I'm really enjoying it. It's going really well with my meal planning and then my grocery list on the back, and we've been clearing. What I'm going to show you in these next videos is how productive we've actually been. And our fridge here, we had to go with a very small size because we live on the it's the 5th floor, but technically it's the 6th floor. There's 20 to 24 flights of stairs. If I got a fridge any larger than the one I have, we would have had to make arrangements to take that brand new refrigerator up 20 to 24 flights of stairs. So we opted for the smaller one so it could fit in the elevator and come up here instead of with all that hassle. Because we're thinking if we have to move again, then we have to take that fridge down 6 stories. So we opted for a small fridge, and I panicked at first trying to figure out how I was going to even survive. But you'll see in these videos that I'm about to attach that we're doing just fine as a family of 4 with a very small refrigerator. So I still need to get the sticker off of the front there, but this is a 14 cubic foot refrigerator here in Ecuador. This is a Samsung. It is literally half the size of what I had in the States, and I thought this was going to be impossible, but I've actually been quite surprised it's worked well. So it has temperature controls here of the power cool settings and things like that we see in the States. And then down here it does have a water dispenser. But I'll show you what's different. In most cases, especially for foreigners, we don't drink the water that comes directly out of the tap. Even with like a refrigerator filter, that's just not enough for many Americans that have moved here. So they make these fridges in a way where it's very old school. We have not an ice maker, but an ice holder. So in here, it has, you know, what you'd be familiar with as ice trays in the States, but these cubes are literally half the size of what they usually are in the States. So we just fill those, turn the knob, and it knocks them all into this holder for us, and then we can refill it. And for our family, we refill it maybe once every 2 days, and it's plenty of ice for us. So we did good last week with our meal planning. We only ended up with 1 thing of meat left in the freezer, so that I'm going to use up tomorrow for some spaghetti. There's just a little bit of French fries left in this, and we freeze our dog's food because she has a very sensitive stomach. So we found if we freeze her food and then serve it thawed, she does a lot better. So that's it for the freezer. I think we got some mango ice cream in there. We'll need to clean that out. But that's it for that week. So we did really good in using up all of the meats that we bought in our meal planning last week. Now here to show you the dispenser, so we can get cold water out of the fridge, but again, it's not a water line that's attached to the refrigerator. Instead, we fill this water supply here with 5 liters of water. It just pulls out. You can either pull out the whole thing, or what we've started doing lately is just pulling it out slightly, opening the lid, and then filling it that way. So that's how we get our cold water, instead of having it attached to a water line, even though we do have one here. So you'll see here, we used up most of, this is where I keep my cheese and butter. All I have left is Parmesan cheese, and that's because I didn't end up making that spaghetti last week. So we did great. Just a couple of snacks for the kids. These are those little beef sticks, kind of like Slim Jims. They're sold a different brand here. Half a canister of butter left, and then half of our cheddar cheese is left because I did the nachos, and that's all the cheese that's left. So we're going to use that up today with our Southwest chicken salad. The next row is, this is kind of like my Asian section, my pickled ginger, pickled daikon, miso, and then these are some of the leftovers that we had from the pesto and cream cheese that I made for the group that was over here the other night. So I'm going to use these up by getting some more cream cheese this week so that we can finish up that. These leftover jalapenos will again go into our Southwest chicken salad tonight, and there will be no leftovers there. This is a baking chocolate that I bought in Mindo. I'll discuss that in a different video. Here is some meat that I'm using for fajitas tomorrow. So I want to go ahead and thaw it out in the fridge instead of on the counter. But you'll see that shelf is pretty empty as well. Down here, oh, let me open and close the fridge door. Down here is just some dips that we had left over from the party. So I have a little bit of guacamole, some refried beans from our nachos the other night, and then in this is a couple of pieces of leftover chocolate cake. So those will be nice little snacks that we get to finish this week with some chips. Again, this shelf is completely empty, and then I just have a little bit of produce. It looks like a lot, but it really isn't. It's 2 bags of lettuce, which we're going to use up tonight with our Southwest chicken salad, some garlic, and I think 1 apple is left. So I feel really good about our usage with the meal planning. We really ate most of everything we had, plus I served 30 people here Friday night, and I was really surprised. I was able to fit everything I needed into the fridge that I needed to keep cool. So, you know, when I first moved here, I thought there was no way I could function with a 14 cubic foot fridge. This is something I would have maybe had in my garage as an extra fridge in the US, but it absolutely worked just fine.
Some have asked us what the price differences are like here in Ecuador. Here's just a few examples. This is the type of fridge I had back in the States. When we purchased it, it was probably around $2,200 to $2,400. Now in the US, you can get that exact fridge at Lowe's for about $1,800. What is the price here in Ecuador? Here's this store. It's one of the major appliance stores, similar to, it's a cross between Lowe's and Linens and Things. Here, that exact fridge is about $3,150. So it's double the price it is in the US. So say there's a current model in the US, that a very up-to-date model, those models here are about $4,500. Plus, you'd have to carry this $4,500 refrigerator up 20 to 24 flights of stairs. So we decided not to do that. Instead, we opted for this next one. Again, this is at that same store, and it was about $1,300 for this fridge. But again, this is only about 14 cubic feet. It's very small. So how to equate that in the US? This is what you would be buying at Lowe's or Home Depot or Sears. This is from the Lowe's website. It would be the equivalent of like this Frigidaire refrigerator, the old style that, you know, most of us had in the 1980s, that you can probably pick up between $500 to $600 in the States. But here it's $1,200. So that one actually fit in the elevator, and we didn't have to worry about hiking it up all those stairs. And if we move, we don't have to worry about taking it down the stairs because it will fit in the elevator. So I just thought that would be a fun fact to share with y'all. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the meal planning. I'll have another video next week on it since I still have one divider to finish. And I also haven't shown you my recipe pages that I've made to go in that book yet. So we'll post that next week. Thanks for watching.